The following program is to provide entertainment and information. It is not considered to be any legal or investment advice. Good morning, appraisers. Let's talk some real estate. You're listening to the Voice of Appraisal, the #1 appraisal podcast in all of America that always brings you the latest news and information from the front lines of the real estate market. Anything from market conditions, appraisal regulations, cryptocurrencies, big bank news. Folks, you have a question, we have all of your answers. We are the one-stop source for all of your real estate appraisal information needs. If you want to be in the know, you have definitely tuned in to the right show. I'm your host, Bill Crawford. How are you today, Kevin?
Happy to be back in the captain's control chair.
Yes.
Here, turning on the mics.
9 years. This is our ninth year in the Voice of Appraisal podcast. 9 years ago, everything changed in the appraisal industry. That's for sure.
I have to ask, Phil.
Yes,
I
Kevin.
haven't seen you around lately.
I
What's
know.
been going on?
I got a little drunk, Kevin. I got a little drunk, but not on alcohol. I got drunk on houses. Okay.
Power.
I bought too many houses. I'm not gonna lie to you. I usually try to flip like 1 or 2 houses a year. I bought 5 in 2022. So I've got 3 that I'm flipping. One actually has already sold. 2 more are getting ready to hit the market, and then the other 2 I'm going to put in my portfolio. But yeah, no, that's been absolutely insane. And then I've had this huge appraisal gasm tour going on throughout all of Cincinnati. I've been talking to all these different realtors, delivering the most appraisal gasms I possibly can. It's been a terrific experience just meeting everybody in 2002, going over what's going on in the macroeconomic world, what's going on in the real estate world, the interest rate world, all those things. It's all part of the appraisal gasm experience that I've been delivering. So that's where I've been. I've been very busy. I know a lot of you out there are not so busy though, right?
Right. Not really that busy. The bizometer.
The bizometers are probably going down a little bit.
And we keep getting these emails. Where are you guys
Where
at?
have you been?
Come
Where you been?
on.
I know. Well, first of all, when it comes to the bizometers, you guys have to rethink the way you do business right now. Because remember, somewhere around 80% of all of the mortgage holders in America have a mortgage rate that's under 4%. So from data point 0, which was March 5th, 2020, to now, we refinanced the entire country in literally 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, that's what we did. And so now you have 80% of the people, 80% of mortgagees having basically an interest rate below 4%. And that's why you need to start getting involved more in the lawyers. I know for a fact that the lawyer work is absolutely busy. I'm slammed with it. I service right now over 30 lawyers is what I service. And I'll tell you something, the divorce rate in the country is just out of control. The country is deeply, deeply divided. And with this divide in the country comes the divide in marriages. I'm not talking about marriages that, we've been together for a couple of years, it didn't work out, we're going to go our separate way type thing. We're talking about 20-year, 30-year, 35-year. These are old marriages.
Just tired of you.
Tired of it, grown apart, differences that are unreconcilable, no kumbaya, nothing. I'm done. They've got a lot of assets. And the one thing I want to tell all of you out there is if you're running slow, start introducing yourself to all of these lawyers. Lawyers don't know that they need you. That's the most important thing. You get these younger lawyers, they start getting involved in these divorce cases. They think that they can just throw a real estate agent up there and that's a good expert witness. But no, you have to introduce yourself to them and get out there and get in front of them. And you'd be amazed at how much work is out there in the legal world, okay? So start doing that. There's also estates that can be done with lawyers as well. Just start to redefine who you are, redefine your business, because you're not going to get that heavy bank volume back again until people get into trouble and then they start having to take out their equity lines.
Right.
You see, and then they have to start cashing out their equity and things like that. Then that's when they'll go from the 4% interest rate to the 6%, 7% interest rate just because they need the money.
Right.
Is what it is. So that's kind of the pattern that I see is going on.
And being a layperson like I am, the way that I look at it is,
Yes.
Unfortunately, these people divorcing in that, what's the first thing they go after? Houses and property.
House and property. It's good work. It's I've been doing it for a long time. I am 48 years old. So cross-examinations for me are tough, but okay. If you're over 60 years old, okay, cross-examinations can be a little difficult, okay? So, but if you are a younger appraiser out there and you're worried about getting, more and more work in, really get yourself involved in that lawyer work and count on that. Basically, everything that we discussed at Appraiser Fest in 2018, I want you to go back to those models again. Go back to what Ryan Lundquist was talking about. Go back to what Jonathan Miller was talking about, what I was talking about, getting into different avenues, because this lender work is going to freeze up for a little bit and it's going to be really, really slow. Okay.
Yeah.
And unless some really hits the fan and then Powell's got to pivot back again, and you start to see interest rates go back down to 5%. And, but still, if interest rates go back down to 5% and Powell needs to pivot, then the country and the economy is in some serious trouble, and that's not a good thing for anybody.
I have to say, at Appraiser Fest,
yes.
Did you nail it or what?
Oh, you nailed it, Kevin. As a matter of fact, there's been a lot of people out there asking me if I'm going to do another conference or not. So let me throw this out there right now. Let me throw it out there. I want you guys to write down this date, okay? NOV 123 2023. Okay, it's a tentative date. I haven't made any decisions yet. I got drunk on houses. I got a hangover. I got to get rid of these damn things, okay? Let me get rid of the houses, and then I will let you know, NOV 123 2023, if we're going to do another conference or not. Probably not going to call it Appraiser Fest, but we'll have another conference, and I've really got a really good idea as to where to have it and what topics we're going to cover. So NOV 123 2023, write it down. I haven't made that official decision yet, but that's what I'm looking at. Now, some people have asked me about designation, about appraisal designations, and is that a good way to increase your business? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're interested in new disciplines, I would look at the ASA, the American Society of Appraisers, okay? Because those are the other disciplines besides real estate. That's where you get into personal property, business valuation. There's some big money over there too. So look at those designations. I hate to say this, but if things get really tough, and I mean really tough, and the appraisal industry goes from like a multi-billion-dollar industry to like, a few just a few $1 billion because FAMA is trying to put you out of business. You could in fact surrender your license, give up your license, and just do evaluations, because you can do evaluations if you're not a real estate appraiser. Now, who's the most qualified to do an evaluation on real estate, Kevin?
Me.
Yeah. Well, under the rule, yes, you're more qualified. But I would say, don't you agree, I would be a little bit more qualified?
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think appraisers would be a little bit more qualified to do evaluations? An evaluation is nothing more than just an appraisal, but they call it an evaluation because it meets the interagency guidelines, right? So appraisers with an appraiser's license or certification can't do an evaluation. The problem is that the appraisal industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Mm-hmm. The evaluation industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Right. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and yet real estate appraisers, who are the most qualified people in the world to do them, can't do them. That's what's called regulatory accumulation. Regulatory accumulation. When regulations accumulate so fucking much that holding the license holds you back from actually expanding your business. You can thank Dave Button and the Appraisal Foundation for that one right there. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. So as far as designations are concerned, ASA, great place to go. Great place to go. Get a nice designation in business valuation. Learn some additional skills on top of just real estate. But if you carry the SRA designation, the SRA is the Appraisal Institute's residential designation, Kevin. And there's been a lot of talk out there as to what SRA stands for, because really you don't really know what it is. I mean, there's MAI, and there's a lot of speculation as to what MAI means. But SRA, but something has changed over at the Appraisal Institute. They have a new president over at the Appraisal Institute. His name is Craig Steinle. Craig Steinle is the king of South Dakota. So he's the king of South Dakota. Now Jonathan Miller, in his housing notes, has covered Craig Steinle's rise to power. He has covered the whole sham election process that took place. This is what Jonathan calls it, the sham election process. I love how in Miller's housing notes, he either says it's the sham election or it's the batshit crazy letter that the Appraisal Foundation sent to the the Appraisal Subcommittee. It's so funny. So he covered the sham election. He covered all of the drama and the ridiculous craziness that took place for Craig Steinle to get in the position that he's in. So now he's the El Presidente of the Appraisal Institute, right? The nursing home. Now, he got rid of Jim Amron. Jim Amron was the CEO of the Appraisal Institute, been the CEO for a long time. Talking about like a $500,000 a year salary type of job. You know what I'm talking about, Kevin? This isn't chump change, right? So Steinle gets rid of Amron, and now Steinle is in this position as president. And he's really been built up. Like, there's a lot of people in the Appraisal Institute that have built this guy up. Like, this guy is like the appraisal Jesus. I mean, this is appraiser Jesus. And the problem is that the current workflow right now is basically 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and he's got 5,000 mouths to feed.
Wow.
He's got a lot of miracles that he needs to pull off if he's going to do anything. So we have to look at the SRA, and we have to say to ourselves, well, if you're going to get more and more people into the Appraisal Institute and you're going to get your numbers up there, then guess what? SRA must stand for Steinley's revenue acceleration, all right? Revenue must accelerate throughout all of the SRA population in order for him to do his job. And he is walking in to this job in 2023 with interest rates going up, a storm coming at him on the economic front, and he's going to have to deal with that. Let's see what the appraiser Jesus can do. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can pull it off. He was recently on the Appraisal Buzz podcast with Joan Tries. Joan Tries. And by the way, Joan, she's getting a little bit better at the podcasting thing. She's getting like she got a little bit more hip. It wasn't the normal, monotone type of thing. I mean, she got a little excited, She got a little excited. Now, the other guy, who's the guy that reads the commercials? Jim Morrison. Jim's he's having a rough time over there. So anyways, so Steinley was on Joan Trice's Buzzcast, and he was talking about some of the goals that he wants to accomplish over at the Appraisal Institute this year. He wants to increase education. That's what he wants to do. Okay, fine. That's fine. Well, he's an educator. Remember, he's from South Dakota.
Right.
There's 400 appraisers in South Dakota. He controls all the education in the state of South Dakota,
so
all right?
Of course he wants more.
But he wants to increase education. He wants to increase his website presence, which is exactly what they've been trying to do for a long time. He wants to recruit new people into the AI, wants to bring more people into the Appraisal Institute, which means that you got to get more youth in there, right? You got to get more young blood in there is what it is. He wants to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion, and he wants to focus in on that PAREA. That's that matrix form of training where you put on the virtual reality type glasses and They take you into the virtual world of the house and you walk in the backyard and there's some virtual dog back there. You can't, what? Don't step in it. Don't step in it. That's the PAREA situation. So he wants to concentrate on all that. The problem is he will accomplish none of this. He will accomplish no education. He may accomplish a little bit of the website development if they use Jim Amron's $500,000 salary and apply it towards messaging and marketing. All right. As a real estate appraiser, I want to see commercials on TV during Super Bowl about how important it is to have a real estate appraiser in a real estate transaction. I want to hear radio spots and podcasting spots and SEO spots about how important it is that a real estate appraiser take part in your transaction. So he has a little bit of a shot with the website. If they don't hire a CEO, takes the 500, puts it into messaging and marketing. He wants to recruit new appraisers. Not going to happen unless he takes my advice. He wants to have increase in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'll talk about that in a minute. And he wants to have this PAREA thing, which means, again, you're going to need new appraisers, but you're not going to accomplish any of it until you handle the big issues at play today in the industry. Let's go through the problems of the industry, because we've always addressed that. You and I have always had the leadership ability to get on here and address the heavy-duty issues that are affecting residential real estate appraisers across the country, especially the SRAs. It's very, very important because he wants to make more SRAs. He wants to bring more people in.
Which isn't going to happen.
Which isn't going to happen unless he does what I'm going to tell him to do. So, Craig, if you're listening to me, El Presidente Steinley, if you are listening to me right now, I need you to get out some pen and some paper, and I need you to write shit down, all right? The first thing that the Appraisal Institute needs to do is to actively come out and aggressively come out against appraisal waivers. That's right. That's the number one thing that has to happen. They need to have all of their SRAs and all of their MAIs join the hashtag I Love Appraisal Waiver campaign. Everyone needs to have a hashtag I Love Appraisal Waiver t-shirt, and I Love Appraisal Waiver coffee mug, and I Love Appraisal Waiver beach towel. We need to make sure that everybody at the GSEs know that appraisal waivers are the biggest dumb idea that they've ever come up with in their entire life, okay? That needs to come straight from the Appraisal Institute. I have said it so many times on this show, and I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right very, very soon about how deadly and how dangerous appraisal waivers are when it comes to the purchase transactions. I'm going to cover this on the next show. The next show will be nothing but appraisal waivers, the American Enterprise Institute's information they put out on appraisal waivers, and how the entire collateral underwriter has up the market. It has screwed up the database like you have never, ever believed. It is absolutely unbelievable. That collateral underwriter, that computer under this appraisal waiver program has basically come in there and said, okay, let's look at the contract price. Let's look at the LTV. the computer is saying that the contract price is the market value, but it really isn't the market value. So therefore, the LTV is off. It messes up the entire loan. So therefore, the price is wrong.
The price is wrong, bitch.
It's wrong, Kevin. It's wrong, Kevin.
Wrong,
it is totally wrong. What do you think about these appraisal waivers?
Wrong,
I'm telling you, do you think this is going to be good for consumer advocacy and things like that? Do you think that's going to help out?
The price is wrong, bitch.
It's wrong, Kevin. It's wrong. So the Appraisal Institute, you got to get on the I Love Appraisal Waivers campaign. You got to get out there and you got to shut down the appraisal waivers, especially when it comes to the purchase transactions. Shut them down.
The price is wrong, bitch.
That's right, Kevin. That is exactly right. Now let's listen to something else here. Messaging and marketing. You've got to increase your messaging and marketing. I want all of you at the Appraisal Institute, and write this down. I want you to go to FMA, findmyappraiser.com. Steal it. It's all right there. It's evergreen. Just steal it. Steal it all. You have to get out there with messaging and marketing. Get out there with the messaging and the marketing. So you have to take an active stance against appraisal waivers. Go to Find My Appraiser, steal everything you see there, and this is the big one, okay? This is the one that's really, really having a massive, massive impact on appraisers throughout the entire country. You've got to end the Fannie Mae love letters. The Fannie Mae love letters are going out across the country. These are the form letters. These are the email letters that are going out to the 55 jurisdictions. Appraisal Institute, you got to get a hold of Jim Park. And you got to tell Jim Park, you got to get a hold of what's going on over at Fannie Mae. Right. And the 55 jurisdictions that are opening up investigations against appraisers based upon a computer printout. It's not signed. And it's generic. It's a generic form. And most of these jurisdictions out there are opening up investigations. You're going to blow up the insurance world when it comes to this. You're going to blow up the E&O and insurance policies. I'm telling you that right now. I've talked to somebody in the E&O business. You're going to blow the living shit out of it. So you need to get out there and get involved in this. You've got to shut down the Fannie Mae love letters. And finally, when it comes to equity and inclusion, when it comes to those important topics that we've been discussing throughout 2021 and throughout 2022, Jonathan Miller noted in his housing notes that at a major conference of the Appraisal Institute, they played the Canadian newscast that had to deal with appraisal bias.
Okay.
It almost came to fisticuffs. The room was divided.
Wow.
They got heated. It got mad. They had to break it up because some people were in agreement. Some people were in disagreement. What if they would have showed lowballed? What if they would have showed lowballed in that room? What would have happened then? Would people start throwing chairs at each other? You got to get on the same page when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. You have to get on the same page with that. So Steinley's got a lot of work. See, those are the big things right there. Those are the big things. You've got to get on the same page when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. You have to stand up against appraisal waivers. That's an easy freaking argument.
Right.
I'm going to make it next week. If you want to, just go ahead and steal it from me. I don't care. I'll make the argument. You can take it to Fannie Mae and say, it's all wrong. If we do this the right way, we're going to realize that Fannie Mae's system is completely wrong. Like the LTV is completely off. We're going to have to reset the entire collateral underwriter. We're going to have to reset the entire Fannie and Freddie book going into 2023 and into 2024. So Appraisal Institute, Craig Steinley, El Presidente, get off your rear end and get this done. You're never going to get anybody to join your organization. You're never going to get anybody to get into the appraisal business unless you do two things. You increase revenue and you decrease liability. Increasing revenue means standing up to appraisal waivers. Decreasing liability means fighting the Fannie Mae love letters. Getting your message and marketing out there means doing exactly what we did with the FMA program. So you guys, I mean, seriously, if Craig Steinley is this guy, if he is the appraiser Jesus, if he's the guy that's going to go out there and bring balance to the force after the whole sham election process and after getting rid of Jim Amron and everything else, I want to start seeing some happening right now. Get involved. And then if you do, you're going to get more and more appraisers interested in you as an organization. SRA has got to stand for Steinley's revenue acceleration, because if it's not Steinley's revenue acceleration, if it's not the revenue acceleration, then SRA will stand for nothing more than Steinley's retirement activities. That's all it is. Because all that's going to be left at the Appraisal Institute is a bunch of has-beens over the age of 67 getting their Social Security check, getting their pension check, maybe getting a little something off of a rental property that they have. And people go up to say, hey, what do you do in retirement? Well, I do appraisals in retirement. That's what I do. I do Steinley's retirement activities. That's what I do. Because you won't get any youth in it. You won't bring new people into it.
So basically, they're putting the cart before the horse.
Every one of these initiatives that Steinley talked about on Jones' show is not going to happen until you do what I told you to do. You start shutting down those appraisal waivers. You start standing up to Fannie Mae and saying, quit sending out your stupid freaking love letters, putting people out of business. They're slow kills, too, by the way. They're a slow kill. You get hit by one of those Fannie Mae, it's like a bullet in the stomach. So you're not going to die immediately. You're going to bleed out. So you get hit by one of those letters, you get hit in the stomach, you're going to bleed out in about a year. About a year when that board gets around to getting to you, and you get hit again and again. There's appraisers out there getting multiple letters right now. So it's like they're getting they're getting these hits. They're going to bleed out. And you're not going to have anybody left except for a bunch of has-beens. And that's going to be Steinley's retirement activities from the nursing home in Chicago called the Appraisal Institute. That's what you're going to be dealing with. So I want to see a more diverse population in the appraisal profession. I want to see youth in the appraisal profession. I don't want to see the youth ran out. I don't want to see them pushed out. I don't want to see them pushed out like a bunch of those old creatures from the Dark Crystal where they just suck the energy out of all the young people. I don't want to see that. That can't happen. We need to get new people involved. We need to get new people in the business, but it comes with revenue. People are not going to work for free, and a decrease in overall liability, Kevin. Because, I mean, the kids aren't going to get into it. They're not going to get into it, you know?
Who would want their kid to be an appraiser?
Appraisers don't want their kids to be appraisers right now. It's time to stand up. Now is the time to do it. Steinley's been billed as this awesome guy. Craig, let's see what you got. You are the king of South Dakota. That's 400 appraisers. You're on a bigger stage now, bud. This is the national stage now. You're out there. Time to step it up. Time to get out there. Time to start taking a stand for all residential real estate appraisers. And then, therefore, your SRAs will benefit, and more people will want to join your organization. Okay? So next time we're on the show, we're going to break down the appraisal waivers more. I'm going to give you all the ammunition that you need to battle the appraisal waivers. If you're interested, you can go to Teespring. Teespring is the I Love Appraisal Waivers t-shirt. Just go to the Voice of Appraisal shop on Teespring and get you a nice I Love Appraisal Waivers t-shirt, coffee mug, fabulous gifts and prizes. I want all of you to tentatively put down the date of NOV 123-2023 for a new conference. I really don't know what to call it quite yet, just the Voice of Appraisal Conference. I'll let you guys know if we're going to do that in April of this year.
So, you know, with the appraisal waivers and these love letters going around.
Yes.
You're the only person that...
Well, there's a lot of people. Okay, that's a good point. That's
love them.
There's a lot of people. All right. That's a very good point, Kevin. It's a very good point. So there's a lot of people in the banking system that hate the love letters. The love letters, especially, are damaging the trust between the banks that sell to Fannie Mae, the corresponding banks and the correspondents, the lenders that sell to Fannie, and Fannie's trust to them. It really is. And I have been. Look, I'm not going to name names on here or anything like that. But there's been a lot of chief appraisers and a lot of people that are disgusted by this whole Fannie Mae love letter situation. I mean, it really is an evil situation. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's bad. And you're messing with banking karma. Okay. And when you get into banking karma, I'll discuss banking karma on a different show too. That's a totally different show unto itself. But you're getting into powers of the universe that are not going to come back on you lightly and favorably as time goes on. So I'm just going to say that right now, that there's a lot of people, there's just a seething anger about this under the radar that Fannie Mae, I don't think, really understands how seething it is and how much it upsets people.
Now, with these love letters, is this something that you can survive, or is this a death sentence?
Sometimes you can survive it. Again, it's a shot, right? It's a shot to the stomach. So you can survive it, but, you know, I think it's a 50-50. I really do. And it depends on how many love letters you get, too. You know, so Freddie's not doing it. I got to believe that the people over at Freddie Mac, you know, not dumb enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they understand it, right? But this situation out of Fannie, it's becoming, and it's going to end up being an E&O insurance crisis by the end of the year. It really will be. So they have targeted a lot of people out there for destruction, and that's not cool. That's not cool at all. If you want to follow me a little bit more, I don't do social media, but I have been doing a little bit of the LinkedIn side. So if you want to follow me on the LinkedIn pages, you can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be back with all of you. I appreciate all of your support. If you wouldn't mind just hitting that like button on the YouTube channel, it helps our algorithm, right? It helps to get more and more people listening to the show. And I appreciate all of you very, very much. Our 9th year, Kevin. 9th year going into VOA. 9 years. That's you just it went by like butter. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our show, and as always, I would like to thank you for listening as we journey through the mysteries and complexities that are, in fact, the real estate appraisal business. I would like to thank my producer, Kevin Kinney, for being here for his thoughtful insight and knowledge. God willing, we're going to be back here very soon. We're continuing to report from the front lines of the real estate market. In the meantime, you kiss your spouse, you hug your children, enjoy your day, be safe in the field. You've been listening to Phil Crawford on Voice of Appraisal. We'll talk very soon.
The price is wrong, bitch.
That's the collateral underwriter. It's wrong.